Hi guys, it's Sebastian with Looking, Feeling, Smelling Great. I'm back with another video for you today. Today I want to discuss the new Parfums Louis Vuitton fragrances that were recently launched. I attended an event where I got to try all the fragrances and I want to discuss that experience, so please stay tuned. So the Louis Vuitton brand has been working on perfumes for the last 2 or 3 years. I have a friend that works for the company Louis Vuitton in Paris, and when I visit Paris for the last 2 or 3 years, I've been asking her saying, is Louis Vuitton going to release fragrances? And she's been telling me all along that yes, they're working on it, yada yada, and finally they're out. I was invited to go and experience the fragrances at our local Louis Vuitton boutique here in San Francisco's Union Square. I'm going to tell you all about it. So I went to the store and I had an appointment at 6 o'clock in the evening. I went with a friend and I went to the section of the boutique where the perfumes are. They're really nicely laid out. It kind of reminded me of the Hermès collection from Hermès, and so kind of laid out similarly, but Louis Vuitton boutique is a lot bigger, a lot more grand, so there's a lot more space. So it was in a pretty big section, whereas in our Hermès boutique here, the fragrances are kind of in a corner. But still, it kind of reminded me of the setup. But it's quite big, it's pretty grand, and it had these ceramic things where you would pull the perfume and you can experience the smell. And they smell a little different there than compared to smelling it on the strip or on yourself. We went upstairs to a special room and we were served champagne and the fragrances were brought out, and I got to smell all of them one by one. So I want to tell you a little bit about all of the fragrances, and I liked several of them, and we'll go from there. So there's a total of 7 fragrances in the collection. They were all created by Jacques Cavallier, who's a well-known fragrance nose perfumer. He's based out of Grasse, France, and that's where these were created. Fragrances retail for as 100 ml for $240 and a 200 ml for $350, and it comes also as a 4 times 7.5 ml with atomizer, kind of a collection, for also $240. So depending on how much fragrance you would use, you would get that size. Unfortunately, the larger size is not decantable, it's a spray. And the bottles are quite unique. I really love the bottles, so it would be great to have one in my collection. But let's go ahead and go with all the fragrances. So the first fragrance I want to mention is Apogee, which I really liked. It did kind of remind me of the clean, citrusy musks of Maison Francis Kurkdjian's musks. And this is one I would wear. It is a flower, but it didn't come off very floral. It's lily of the valley, jasmine, and magnolia. So I wore it in the boutique on one side of my hand, and I do have a card here. So Apogee, as I say, is one that I really liked, and I can still smell this. This was 3 days ago that I sprayed it on here, and we have little sleeves to take them home. Those samples were given to us. Apogee is one that I liked. It's just, it kind of seems like it's been done before. As a fragrance for Louis Vuitton, I think it's one that maybe their clientele would be interested in if they like something more clean, slightly floral, musky, but really, really pleasant, not overwhelming. And the fact that this card still smells, I like the fact that it's got a little bit of longevity. So the next one is Contre Moi. This is the one that I really fell in love with. But again, it didn't, like, I wasn't like wowed with it, but it's the one that I really like because this one's a dominant vanilla note. So it's got vanilla, green notes, magnolia again. I guess this is a trend in these fragrances because we're going to see it pop up in the other ones. Orange blossom and rose. But apparently this has like several kinds of vanilla, the associate there was telling me. And it's the one that I really liked with. It's very comforting, it's very relaxing, and it would be one that I would wear probably to just, you know, in the winter time or the fall when it's cooler and crisper. You can wear something a little more softer and a little more, you know, cozy. And I like that. This one was the most interesting one for me, but then again, it didn't like wow me because I have several vanilla fragrances in my collection and I did like it a lot. The price tag seems to be a little high, so I'm not sure I would just, you know, jump out and get one. But I can still smell it here. It's kind of like actually vanilla with green notes right now. That's what it's dried down to on the card or in the sleeve, but still like the smell, and again, it was one of my favorites from the collection. So the next one I also liked was Dans le Peau. Now this was not high on my list, but I liked it. I only brought cards for the ones I liked, so there will be a few that I did not bring cards for. But this one's leather, magnolia, jasmine, narcissus, musk, and apricot. So it's definitely leathery, and I guess this particular leather was the Louis Vuitton leather that they use in their purses and in their leather accessories. And I guess the leather was soaked in a big vat and macerated, and the aroma of the leather was kind of what was used in the perfume, along with the other notes. So this one's definitely really nice. I like this one, but it was not high on my list. There's definitely leather there, and I like leather fragrances. This definitely has kind of a designer style fragrance, and it didn't wow me too much. So I liked it, even though I liked it, it's not my favorite. The other one that I also really liked was Matière Noire. I guess it translates to, I don't know all the translations for all these fragrances, but Matière Noire translates to noir, dark matter. This one has cyclamen, black currant syrup, incense, narcissus, patchouli, and oud. So kind of reminds me of something between Angel and Coco Mademoiselle by Chanel. And then there's also a fragrance by the company Fragonard that I have actually bought myself that actually just reminds me of. Right now the patchouli is pretty potent, and the black currant syrup is kind of there too. I really did like this one. Maybe it might be a little feminine leaning because it got the Angel kind of vibe, or the Coco Mademoiselle from Chanel. But still, it's a really nice one. And then we also have Mille Feux, which has leather, raspberry, osmanthus, saffron, iris. And then also Rose de Vent. Now Mille Feux didn't wow me, so I don't have a card for it. Then there's Rose de Vent, which has rose, cedar, pink pepper, and iris. The rose was leaning fruity. It was kind of like a fruity kind of tea style rose. It was pretty. It was a little more feminine than normal, and it also kind of felt dewy wet. So I liked it, but it was not one of those heavy roses where I would like put on and it'd be really intense. And then finally, the last one that I really like is called Turbulence, and basically it stands for turbulence. Actually, it's a tie between Matière Noire and Turbulence, and I really like this one. And I'm actually, as I've been saying in the videos, really starting to love the tuberose. But this one smells really, really like an actual tuberose that you smell on the big stems. Very green, very tuberosey, like identical. I used to buy the tuberose and wait for it to bloom as they're closed buds. And when they're really bloomed and mature bloomed, you can smell that beautiful creamy tuberose, and this smells just like that. It doesn't smell like the most popular cardinal flower from Frederic Malle, but if you want a true tuberose scent, I think this is really nice. So it's got leather, jasmine, magnolia again, and musk. So tie between Matière Noire, but if I was to buy one of the other, I would probably buy Turbulence second, and then Contre Moi number 1. So overall, I think they're excellent fragrances, but they're definitely designer. So for someone that is more into niche fragrances like me, these are definitely designer. They smell designer, but they're a little more above designer quality. So there is more quality to them, but I think I would call them anything between like a true designer fragrance between a niche fragrance. So there's a little more interesting thing going on with these fragrances. But for somebody like me who's got so much experience with smelling fragrances and passion for the niche and indies, these probably are not the fragrances I would just jump at to buy right away. But I think for a Louis Vuitton clientele, I think they're perfect. And for me, if I wanted to buy one, I'd probably be tossed up between Contre Moi and Turbulence, just to have the bottle, because those bottles are really beautiful. Great to have as a collection kind of a thing. So that's my first impressions of the Le Parfum Louis Vuitton collection of fragrances that were recently launched. 7 fragrances, beautiful bottles, beautiful scents, and what I thought about all these fragrances. Let me know your thoughts if you've tried these out yet. They're exclusively at the boutiques at Louis Vuitton. I'm not sure if they're all at all the boutiques. Probably they are, but maybe you can visit a Louis Vuitton boutique and check them out and smell them. Because, you know, as I said, 3 that I liked, and the other few were a little less than appealing to me. But some of you might actually enjoy them. But then again, that price tag of $240 for 100 ml is pretty high, and that's actually niche fragrance pricing. So there you have it. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching this video for the new Le Parfum Louis Vuitton collection of fragrances. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, there's a subscribe button at the top. Please subscribe, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.